Shifting your mindset is like opening a new door to success. Shifting your mindset is like a power affirmation. Affirmations are powerful because if you repeat an affirmation long enough, sooner or later you will start to believe it. And developing strong belief systems can change your mindset. They really can. That's why I feel like it's important to discover the origin of a limiting belief. My limiting beliefs developed during childhood. I gained most of my beliefs from my parents. And I realized this when I really started doing like the inner work and I started taking courses and from my mentor and coach, and I started listening to my counselor and getting better and trying to get to like the root cause of my limiting beliefs. And come to think of it, that's what it was. I i got i literally got all of my limiting beliefs from childhood. I really do truly believe that, because when I remember and I think back to that time, I was in a very poor environment. And when I say poor, I don't necessarily mean impoverished. I mean not healthy, a unhealthy environment where my mother wasn't being necessarily respected as a woman. She wasn't really setting boundaries in some sense, and my stepfather had his issues and he had his own ways, and it just was not a very healthy environment. And I also want to point out my father wasn't there at all, so in a sense I kind of felt like some sort of abandonment, and I was around individuals like my parents who weren't emotionally available for me as a child. So I was not in a great place at that time, and I didn't really realize it. The crazy thing about it was I thought that that was normal. I thought, oh, people are supposed to live like this. People are supposed to have these mindsets and these limiting beliefs, not knowing any better. And eventually, without noticing it, unconsciously, that followed me through adulthood, because I'm just now breaking those limiting beliefs, you know, getting to the root cause of them and getting rid of them, avoiding the limiting mindset and surpassing it and getting to my true dream life. Excuse me. Sorry if my voice is a little raspy. My voice gets a little raspy when I've been talking. I've been at work, and a lot of my work is done over the phone as a peer counselor for weeks. So excuse my voice, it's a little raspy. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something that I just feel so called to talk about: The Secret Door to Success by Florence Scovel Shinn. And she was an excellent metaphysical teacher. She always talked about the law of attraction. She had students that she taught her law of attraction techniques and methods to, and she just was such an amazing woman. I believe she was during the time of like the 1900s, the 20s, the roaring 20s era. I'm not for sure, don't quote me on that, but she lived during that time. But she was a really great teacher, and I feel like much of her work is kind of underrated. We primarily know about teachers like, what they call Neville Gardner. What are some of the other ones? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. But we really don't know too much about Florence Scovel Shinn. We know some things about her. We know that she was also a painter and she was married to one, but not too much. I love reading her books. I have her whole collection in one book, and she only wrote 4 books altogether. And I don't know, for some reason I felt called to read the second one, which is The Secret Door to Success. And I started reading it recently. I believe it was Wednesday. I turned the page to the first chapter of The Secret Door to Success, and I could not believe what I was reading. I had been talking about nothing but failure, and I was talking about how a little bit upset with the book sales to Beautiful Light Energy, and I was talking about like failure and all of that kind of stuff, and trying to understand it, and trying to, because really failure is a part of success. It's a part of the system of success. So you have to fail in some sense to get to success. You just have to keep going. Once you fail, you got to keep going until you get to success. And I was talking about that in a post that I had done on Facebook, and it was exactly what Florence Scovel Shinn had said in that chapter of the book. And I could not believe what I was hearing. So basically she was saying that, oh my God, this is just, I don't know. I'm explaining in a few minutes. I really am. I'm going to explain this because it's just so significant to me, because I'm just so excited to share this with you all. In the book, in the chapter, she kind of explains that a lot of the Bible is esoteric teachings. You know, a lot of it is kind of like allegories and, you know, metaphors for things. And you shouldn't really I wouldn't say you should take some of the stories literally, but you should look at them like in an esoteric way, in a sense. She was basically saying the story in the Bible, the walls of Jericho, is kind of like a metaphor for your wall of failure. Like you have this wall that's holding you back. You are, in a sense, oppressed in some way due to your fear and your limiting beliefs and your failure. You are oppressed by those things, and you keep speaking those things out into the universe, you keep speaking it out to the law, and it's happening over and over again. And as a result, you are held captive by your fear and by your limiting beliefs, until one day you keep going, you keep pressing, and you keep pushing, and then boom, you tear down and you break down the wall of Jericho, and you finally get to the promised land. And I was like, what? It was just such an amazing way she said that. And I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what it means. It's literally a metaphor for persevering and getting to your success, getting to the place that you want to be. And that's exactly what I had been talking about on my Facebook post. So I really, really believe that I was called to read that chapter on that day at that time in real time. And I was like, what? This is amazing. So I kept reading. And there's more great things in the book. You really have to read it for yourself. I really want you all to read her work. She was such an amazing teacher. And I do talk about her more in the Beautiful Light Energy course. I think I don't necessarily have a book list that I have in the course, but I have like different words you should research the etymology of, so you can understand words and how you should put words into context whenever you are reciting affirmations. So things like that are in the course, but I also talk about her and people like Reverend Ike as well, who also taught metaphysical teachings also. Yeah, I just felt like that was just so amazing. But that's what that is. That's what I was talking about. The failure video, the system of success, I think I called it or titled it. But you have to go back to that first video. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about persevering, pushing through until you make it. You cannot give up. You cannot give up. You have to make it to the point where you crumble that wall. You have to get to the point where you tearing it on down, you're breaking it, and you're tearing down that great wall. of Jericho, and you're getting to that sweet spot. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I really do. And I feel like that's what I was really talking about with I talked about in a previous episode. I talked about mother wounds and how to really heal from them, because we really get a lot of our trauma, passed down trauma from our mother or our father, with the father wound as well. I think I'm going to plan on talking about that in another episode, in the next episode probably. But we get a lot of our beliefs from our family, from our parents, and we have to work to really break those limiting beliefs so we can be the different one in the family. You know, how we don't have to believe the same things our parents or our family believed, especially if it's not benefiting us, especially if it's not bettering our life, especially if it's a limiting belief. And I talk about how you can break those limiting beliefs, break those mother wounds, so you can get to your wall and break it on down, so you can get to that promised land, that amazing success of, the amazing success of your life, you know. And yeah, I just love that. I just feel like it was such a blessing to read that and just be touched with that message. Yeah. This is such a good series. I just love talking about the things that I've been reading about and I feel like have blessed me. So, yeah.